I was outside for a second, yeah.
Okay,
Is it just audio now, so we're okay?
hang on, it says we're live, but it's still spinning. Now we're live,
Okay, with audio, just audio?
just audio,
Okay,
yes.
okay. We are back in session with just audio for this portion of our meeting. This portion of the meeting is going to be the public hearing. It's for Two Farms Incorporating. It's seeking council's conditional use to allow for operation of two businesses, on one parcel located 12643 Rock Road, parcel number 530-10.00-58.04. Parcel is zoned highway commercial HC.
And, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Council, we had a hearing last night for the planning commission on this application. The planning commission voted to recommend approval of this application. There was one condition that they added as part of their recommendation, that there be a 35-foot area on all sides where no structures would be placed. And the applicant, I'm sure will go into that in his presentation here this evening, but the applicant is looking for a storage shed and furniture sales and storage facility. So there would be structures coming in and out, which we can certainly ask the applicant about, but they couldn't be within 35 feet of the property lines and the rear of the property, as this property has frontage or abuts. There's a parcel, part of the parcel has a shop on it, which we'll get into in the record, on Rock Road. There's frontage along 13 South, 13 North, and Fire Hall Avenue. So it's to keep things away from those roadways. That was what the commission voted last evening. We do have a public hearing tonight, so we can hear from the applicant, and any witnesses or anybody for or against has a right to speak about that. It is a conditional use because there's a section of the code that requires that if you have multiple permitted uses on the property, you're required to have a conditional use. There's already a shop on the front part of the parcel. This would be an additional use on that parcel. So, and Mr. Byler's here this evening. I'm sure he can tell this body about it, much like he did last night to the commission. And if you'd like, you can come up to that podium like you did last night, Mr. Byler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So yes,
And can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Daniel Byler, 2874 7 Acres Road, Dover, Delaware, 19902. So yes, so basically what I want to do over there is just have shed sales there, sell like the portable storage sheds and pile of furniture. And yeah, so as far as the conditional use of 35 feet from both sides of the property, I was okay with that, yes.
Okay. Now, I see you also are using storage, 'cause this isn't even in town, you're also using storage away from, on the other side of the highway too as well? On the southbound side, next to the Beaver Dam?
No, that's not me, that's
No, that's
somebody
not
else.
you, that's somebody else, that isn't
Somebody
you?
else.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay, okay,
Yes, I have nothing to do with that.
okay, okay.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I know last evening I went through some questions from Mr. Byler so that we had a record upon which to go through for ease of the applicant and clarifying the record. I'd be happy to go through some of those questions from Mr. Byler.
Yes.
I think that worked well last evening. So you're currently leasing the property from Two Farms, correct?
That is correct.
What are your hours of operation and what days of the week will you be open?
Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturday 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Sundays closed.
And my recollection from looking at the site plan is that the parcel's about 3.4 acres or so. You are leasing the portion of that consists of about 2.4 acres, which is currently vacant, and is closest to Fire Hall Avenue, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you would be accessing the property from Fire Hall Avenue, is that right?
That is correct.
Is there an existing entrance in place?
Yes,
And that's off of Fire Hall Avenue?
yes.
Are you going to have, a gate or any kind of, thing there at the entrance?
Yes, sir.
Is that going to be locked?
It will be when we're not there.
Alright. What is on the other side of the parcel, what is currently there now? The part that you're not leasing, what is,
That is an antique shop, I wanna say.
do you anticipate this will have any vehicular or pedestrian traffic effect? Or what do you think the effect of your proposal would be on vehicular or pedestrian traffic?
It might have to a degree. How much, I do not know.
You don't expect a large amount of customers at any given time?
I mean, I haven't been on there that long, but a couple days that we were on there, the most we've seen was 6.
How many employees will you have on site?
Just one.
When you, you're gonna have the sheds and this furniture on the site for display and sale, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Is there going to be an office space or other place where people can come and, have a, sign a contract or?
Yes,
Okay,
there is an office there.
alright, so it's on the site
It
now?
is on site, but it's not permanent. Basically what we did, we just put a stone pad underneath. If the day ever comes we no longer use it, we'll put it back on.
Alright. And do you have a restroom in that facility?
A portable one, for John.
Are you gonna have any loudspeakers on the site?
No, sir.
How about any lights?
Good possibility that I'm with.
Okay, so like security lights? Are there any existing ones or poles on the property that you
There-
can utilize?
There is, and there's existing lights on those poles. We just have to determine who we have to talk to about getting them turned on. Right now, they're turned on.
Have you had any discussions with your neighbors about the, what you're proposing to do?
Not yet.
Have you had any complaints about this that you're aware of?
No, not that I'm aware of.
And will there be adequate parking for your customers on the site?
Yes.
And it's not gonna be on the road, it'll be on the
No.
property itself?
We have an area on the east side of the offices. We have gravel and stuff we're working.
Okay, I don't have any additional questions at this time, but members of council may have some questions for you.
When do you anticipate having the business totally up and running? Your projected time frame?
I mean, hopefully Monday. Yes.
Moving right along.
I mean, would there be an issue if we would do it sooner than that?
I don't believe there'd be any issue, because he's already set up and ready to go, we just gotta give him the use.
Well, you have to understand that any decision that council makes is subject to,
Correct.
somebody could challenge it, so there is that.
Thank you. He answered that.
But that would be, if this council were to approve your conditional use, which they may or may not do, any action you take is subject to your own risk.
I don't have any questions. I don't think that it's gonna, I mean, the only thing that I see, I'm glad you have parking in your property, only simply because it's right across from the fire department. And we can't have any vehicles on there simply because if the fire department needs to get out and just start going somewhere, they can't have to be dealing with traffic through there, so. That was my biggest concern, is if you had parking on that property for your
Yes.
customers who are parked, that way they're out of the way of Fire Hall Avenue itself, so.
I got a question for Jamie. This isn't a lock-in, conditional use. If he leaves, then the conditional use leaves with him?
No, it's not personal, it's conditional use runs with the land.
So in other words,
Unless you were to make that a condition.
I mean, so if this gentleman leaves, then anybody could come in there and would never have to come back before this board.
Unless you just said.
Yeah, unless you put
We made
conditional.
that condition.
I mean, one of the things with the conditional use is that council has the ability to impose conditions on the use there. As recommended by the commission, for example, there's the 35-foot, no structures within 35 feet that, he's stated, like, for instances, hours of operation. The parking will be on the property, those things. If you wanted to make those as conditions, you certainly could do that.
I mean, I'm okay with, I think
I mean-
that would be a condition to me.
The condition with me would be this, and I got nothing against this gentleman, but he's here and glad he's here, and then he leaves, and then the conditional use, they could bring anything in there.
Well, it won't be anything, it would be, the use is for storage sheds and for, outdoor furniture.
I mean, that's what I'm
That's
asking.
the use.
If somebody else comes in and does the same thing this gentleman does, it's okay. But if they change the use,
And I would suspect that if you wanted to, you could make that a condition, that may be appropriate, if you wanted to limit it to that.
That's what I think that is a good idea.
Right.
Is
Is if it's
allow
on-
the conditional use, but only for Mr. Byler's business in the time that he's there. If he's there 100 years, great, but if for some reason he leaves, that conditional use disappears, and then whoever wants to lease the property from Two Farms, or,
But if it's still under the stipulation that we agree to now. it
Well,
would-
the challenge that you're gonna have here is the applicant is Two Farms.
Right,
They're the owner of the property.
right, so if somebody, yeah,
So Mr. Byler is, tenant, I don't know how long your lease is, but, when you make it personal, one, it makes it difficult for town to track, we run into that issue. You run the issue that if, say, for example, he wants to create an entity, that has the business at some point, that would trigger, him having to come back. So you run into some challenges there from a governing perspective when you make it personal. Certainly could do it, but it's not always, but we don't
this-
see that very often, I'll put it to you that way.
Wow.
And
Now-
it also makes it difficult, from like a lending perspective, if there need to be a loan for the business.
so I mean, my question is, talking about this is that, Mr. Baller here has opened the door for Two Farms. They're coming in now and we're allowing a conditional use for Two Farms. You understand what I'm saying? Now,
Two Farms is the owner of the property.
Right, now, when Mr. Baller decides, hey, I'm leaving here, I'm gone, then the conditional use still stays.
Mhm.
Now then, does it have to be sheds and furniture, or can they do,
If you want that, you could make that a condition.
well, that's,
I mean,
I'd rather
that's why it's a conditional use. You have the right to impose conditions.
right, but I don't wanna get us into, like you were saying, that personal this or what have you.
but we can just make it state that it's this
Solely
for
sale.
sheds and furniture, still with the setbacks on all four sides, has to have the parking, exactly how we have it structured now. So they can't, if Mr. Byler decides to leave, Two Farms can't come in and say, I'm gonna put whatever, a bouncy house section, what doesn't matter, something else there, and.
Now, Two Farms can come back and reapply for another conditional use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they would have to come
but,
back.
yeah, that's.
I don't wanna limit them,
Right.
Yeah,
but I don't wanna,
yeah, I mean, I understand. You-
Open the door
You had an
for-
applicant come to you with, here's what we're planning to do, and you don't want an applicant to then say, we're doing something different later. Yeah, I don't think this is
It's not,
Mr. Byler's concern so much as.
no,
as
it's
it
more
would
of
be
council, yes.
The record owner.
that would be the condition I would suggest.
Hopefully it works out, we like to stay there a long time.
Hopefully,
We hope so
That's-
too.
we hope so,
We hope
too.
so too, we're just protecting our backs in case something stupid happens and then Well, I agree with that, I would agree with that.
I'm fine with it. I watched them last night on the meeting that they had, so it's pretty up to date with what they're doing.
Okay.
Everything seems,
Well, we also need to make sure there's nobody here for or against. I only see one other gentleman
Yeah.
here.
Today's a public hearing, you shortened,
So, but, we do need to ask if there's anybody here for or against, so.
is there anybody here for or against this conditional use? That is a no.
Are there any additional questions for Mr. Byler that you all have?
I don't.
I have just one question. I know I heard you last night talking about the fire company across the way, and they were gonna have the code
Yes.
to the fence, because they did use that some. Is that a problem for you, though?
No, it's not a problem with me.
And how about like today with all the electric trucks that were out there?
I didn't even know they were out there.
Uh-oh. So the fire department they used to use that area.
They have a lot of meetings, and the electric company from down the road park in the mornings there. And like there was, I mean, it was all filled today, which you weren't even there to see, so I'm just wondering how that's gonna work.
Maybe they should get a hold of you.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, we exchanged phone numbers, I forget the gentleman's name, but somebody from the firehouse did come over, and I do remember that he had asked me about the electric company's trucks, and I had given him the okay.
Okay, oh, all right.
Okay.
But sometimes it's not as many, sometimes there's more.
We
There's
also,
various hours when they have their meetings.
they also have the beats and barbecues, and it's just regular cars that used to park on that lot as well. So that's something that if you're being because they're gonna need parking.
But that's
somewhere.
once a month,
It's once, yeah, that's
Right.
once a month. like it-
for one day,
Just
For like,
so the council's
what, 8
aware, I mean,
months?
that's gonna be an issue between the fire department and
Right.
Right.
the owner and Mr. Byler. You know, I don't know that council has the ability to impose a restriction, hey, you've gotta open up your
No.
parking for.
I don't think that was the
property.
implication.
No, I was
I
just
don't
wondering
know.
how he would, nothing wasn't, that he didn't know about.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, and I think you made it clear last night, you're aware that the fire company, has in the past utilized some of that
Yes.
space.
But there is a lot of space there too.
It is.
It's not like a small space,
Yes.
so we're talking about this, but there is a lot
Yeah.
of room there, yes.
Do we have any more discussion before I hear a motion?
I move.
But I've got a motion that,
Oh,
which is
okay.
what the commission approved last night. I could recite something if you'd like, Mr. Donovan, if you wish to accept it, you could.
Please
And
do.
then add the,
Mhm.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve conditional use application for Two Farms Inc. for two businesses on the same parcel based on the record made before the public hearing and the recommendation from the planning commission, and for the following reasons. The applicant seeks a conditional use permit to operate two businesses on the same parcel. The portion of the property fronting on Rock Road is currently used for an antique gift shop, and the rear portion of the property consists of 2.4 acres more or less and is vacant. The applicant proposes to utilize the rear 2.4 acres of the parcel for a shed and furniture display and storage, and a conditional use is required due to the additional use on the lot. The property is zoned highway commercial, and the proposed additional use is permitted in the HC district. The property is a large parcel consisting of 3.4541 acres more or less. The proposed use will have a separate access from Fire Hall Avenue. There are commercial uses in the area, and the use is compatible with those uses. There is sufficient area to screen the use from other uses. The use will not significantly detract from permitted uses in the district. The proposed conditional use provides for general convenience and welfare. No parties appeared in opposition to the application. The conditional use is subject to the following conditions, which will serve to minimize any potential impacts on the surrounding area and adjoining properties. There shall be a 35-foot buffer along all sides, including the portion abutting the gift shop, where no structures, including sheds or furniture, can be placed. Additionally, the use is specific only to the use for storage of and sales of shed and furniture and the display thereof. Do you wish to make that your motion?
I would love to make that my motion.
Second.
The motion was moved by Mr. Donovan, it was seconded by Mr. Nelson. Mr. Willie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan, how do you
Oh,
vote?
definitely, yes.
Yes, I vote yes. Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Yes.
Feel like Mr. Byler.
Yes, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yep.
you're very welcome.
I didn't realize I was
Good luck with it.
making
Yes,
motions.
good luck with it. Thank you for coming to town, Greenwood, and we do appreciate
And
it.
who seconded that one?
Mr. Nelson did.
Thank you.
That motion carries.
Okay, I'm gonna end the live now and put the camera back on.
As long, yep, that's fine, because we moved the second one. Yeah. Oh, hey, I know that real quick, and then,